Hey guys, Nick here with PhoneArena, and let's say that you're interested in getting a new phone. But not just any phone, you want your next smartphone to be big, to be fast, you want it to be awesome. Well, one of the smartphones matching this description is the Samsung Galaxy Note 3. It has a 5.7-inch display and it's fully loaded with neat features, some of which are exclusive to Galaxy Note devices. However, as in most cases, there's a number of alternatives you have to consider as well. One of them is the LG G2. It comes with a 5.7-inch display packed in a pretty compact body, and under its hood hides the hardware muscle needed to give the Note 3 some heated competition. So, who would win in a fight between these two smartphones? Time to find out. The Samsung Galaxy Note 3 is a rather conservative-looking smartphone with a rectangular body made of plastic. Thanks to its leather-like backplate, it looks and feels like a device built with professionals in mind. Its textured surface has a very low tendency to slip out of your palm, and that's quite a big deal since handling this jumbo-sized smartphone can be challenging. At the same time, no fingerprints or pocket lint stick to the Note 3's back, so it looks nice and spotless pretty much all of the time. The LG G2 looks and feels quite okay and has a better chance at appealing to the younger crowd with its curvier design. But again, its appearance can't make any jaws drop, and we see nothing extraordinary about its construction or build quality. It sports a body made of glossy plastic treated to a fine, discrete pattern seen on the handset's backplate. Smudgy traces build up on its surface rather quickly, but thankfully these are very easy to get rid of with a quick wipe. What does make the LG G2 stand out, however, is its size. For a smartphone packing a huge 5.2-inch touchscreen, it feels surprisingly compact and it would definitely fit easier in your pocket than the Galaxy Note 3. Furthermore, while handling Samsung's phablet with a single hand is a challenge, the LG G2 is a lot more suitable for single-handed use. One of the tricks that the Galaxy Note 3 has up its sleeve is the S Pen it comes bundled with. Resting in its dedicated slot, this is a pressure-sensitive digital stylus and a perk every Galaxy Note device offers. This accessory is used much like a real pen, but instead of paper, a virtual canvas is used for writing on. Entering text by hand, drawing, taking down notes, and navigating through the phablet's interface are all among the main uses for the S Pen. Lifting the Note 3's back cover reveals its user-replaceable 3200 mAh battery, as well as its slot for the micro SIM and the micro SD cards. The LG G2 has a non-removable back cover, so its 3000 mAh battery cannot be accessed by the user. No micro SD card slot is present on the G2, so you'll have to rely solely on the built-in storage. LG has placed the G2's power and volume keys on the back for a couple of reasons. Firstly, that has allowed for the company's engineers to make the phone more narrow, and secondly, this unorthodox solution is meant to make these buttons easier to access. Well, we've been using the LG G2 for a while now, and while we're fine with having the power and volume keys placed where they are, we don't think their placement makes them easier to operate. Buttons on the Galaxy Note 3 are arranged in a typical for the company fashion with a large physical home key below the screen, accompanied by a pair of capacitive buttons for the back and menu functions. The power and volume keys are positioned on the right and left sides respectively and are easy to reach despite the handset's size. Both the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 and the LG G2 come with displays of near excellent quality. On the Note 3 we see a 5.7-inch Super AMOLED touchscreen, while the IPS LCD panel on the LG G2 has a size of 5.2 inches in diagonal. Their resolution is 1080 by 1920 pixels, as is now typical for top-of-the-line Android smartphones. Looking at size alone, the Note 3 definitely has the upper hand, since its screen is larger than the one on the G2. That makes Samsung's phablet more suitable for a number of tasks that would benefit from the extra real estate, such as browsing the internet, enjoying photos or videos, playing games, and so on. But size is not everything, and the G2's display, despite being smaller by half an inch, is also a pleasure to admire. In fact, we find the screen on LG's flagship slightly more detailed. A flaw common for both screens is that their color reproduction is a bit off. The typical for AMOLED panels pumped up colors are observed on the Note 3 as well, while the LG G2 has its color temperature leaning towards the colder side. Nevertheless, these imperfections are so slight that they're likely to go unnoticed by most users. Outdoor usability isn't an issue either. Both screens can be operated comfortably even on a sunny day, thanks to their high brightness output and low reflectance. Android 4.3 Jelly Bean, which is the latest version of the platform to date, comes on the Galaxy Note 3, and layered on top of it is the company's TouchWiz user interface. Some might find it a bit more cartoony than it should be, yet that aside, there's actually quite a lot to like about this popular user interface. For starters, it runs fluidly, it is customizable, and a bunch of preloaded widgets can come in handy. Naturally, Samsung has sprinkled its minor and major features all over, thus improving the overall user experience. Extras borrowed right from the Galaxy S4, such as Smart Scroll, Smart Stay, Air View and Air Gestures are on board. While they aren't anything mind-blowing, they do enable users to interact in a different and in some cases more convenient way with their device. A feature much more practical than these, however, is multi-window, which lets us have two apps or two windows of the same app running side by side. My Magazine is also among the features we're happy with. Powered by Flipboard, it serves as a personalized news reader with an eye-pleasing interface. The LG G2 comes running Android 4.2.2 out of the box, so it's a step behind when it comes to operating system software versions, but that's not really a deal-breaking issue in this case. What's great about this custom user interface is just how customizable it is. You're even free to set a UI theme to change the size of your icons or to reorganize the toggle buttons in the notification panel. Visually, using the LG G2 is kind of like watching a light show. There's color everywhere, the lock screen animation feels as if a firework is exploding, and the screen transitions, which you can also modify by the way, bring every home screen to life. Feature-wise, there's a ton of goodies preloaded, one of the most useful among them being Slide Aside, allowing users to multitask by saving up to 3 apps in their current state for later use. We also appreciate having the Q-Slide companion applications hovering in a window above the UI, as they give quick and instant access to the phonebook, to our web browser, and messaging apps, and more. Snapdragon 800 is the chip powering the LG G2 and the LTE model of the Samsung Galaxy Note 3. That little piece of silicon is quite a beast actually, crushing all previous benchmark records with its quad-core Crate 400 CPU that can sprint at speeds of near 2.3 GHz. Sure enough, the performance of these two handsets is outstanding, and no matter which one you pick, the user interface smoothness and responsiveness is not going to disappoint. They can run anything from demanding applications to today's visually intensive 3D video games. If you are a heavy multitasker, then the Note 3 might be right for you. It has 3 GB of RAM at its disposal, so switching between applications always happens in an instant. The LG G2 has 2 GB of RAM, which is considerably less, but still good enough to meet the needs of the great majority of users. Onboard storage on the LG G2 is limited to 16 or 32 GB, depending on which model you pick. Unfortunately, there is no microSD card slot, so the phone's storage space cannot be expanded. The Samsung Galaxy Note 3, on the other hand, has one and can take up to 64 GB extra to go along with its 32 or 64 GB of native storage. Plus, Samsung is throwing in 50 GB of Dropbox storage at no cost for a period of 2 years. Fundamentally, the phonebook and dialer applications on the Note 3 and the G2 are very similar and straightforward to use. There are separate tabs for the dialer, for the user's contacts, for their favorites, and the call logs. Several neat additions are present, however, in both applications. Samsung's solution allows us to pick between a bunch of vibration patterns that can be assigned to contacts. LG, on the other hand, lets us set the LED to blink in a specific color whenever a specific someone is calling. The messaging apps on both smartphones allow us to attach not only images and video to our texts, but also map locations, contact data, and calendar entries, just like any app of this kind should. Their keyboards can be condensed on the left or right side of the screen for easier single-handed typing. Not that we find this more comfortable than entering text using both thumbs, but it's good to have options. Overall, we can shoot messages back and forth pretty swiftly, as our fingers can easily hit the right button. The Note 3's keyboard, being wider, is more convenient, but the one on the G2 is easy to use as well. Samsung has not forgotten to load the Note 3 with its arsenal of organizer and productivity apps, including its S Planner application. It serves as a versatile calendar with the option to create to-do lists as well. Managing your agenda on the G2 is done with its calendar and tasks apps, which are also pretty nice and work in a similar fashion. Both smartphones come with translation apps capable of interpreting foreign languages. S Translator, which is preloaded on the Galaxy Note 3, uses a speech-to-text engine to convert whole sentences from one language into another and then speaks out the result. However, one huge downside to this is that the app requires a data connection in order to work, and data usage while abroad can be ridiculously expensive. The Quick Translator app on the G2, on the other hand, can download whole dictionaries for offline use. The camera of the device is utilized to see words and phrases, which are then translated instantly into a language selected by the user. Taking down notes on the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 is not only easy, but it can be quite fun actually. The S Note application can be used for the purpose, and of course it works well with the S Pen. You can write or type in text and add clip art graphics or images that you have stored onto the handset. The LG G2 has its own notebook application, which offers an identical set of features, but instead of a stylus, you use your fingers to doodle stuff with. In case you need something simpler, there's a basic memo app at your disposal. Thanks to their large, high-resolution displays, both the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 and the LG G2 are ideal for surfing the web, but if we had to pick a favorite, that would be the Note 3. The stock internet application on the handset loads pages fast and increases the text size where that's appropriate. Some articles can be viewed in the very convenient reader mode, which clears the entire page, leaving only the body of the post. On the LG G2, we find a browser that is just as fast, but not as enjoyable to use. Text isn't automatically inflated, so it can still be hard to read without zooming in. There is a 13-megapixel camera on the Samsung Galaxy Note 3, backed by a single LED flash. And here's what the camera interface looks like. Its biggest advantage is the boatload of camera features and effects that come preloaded, such as the built-in image filters and the fancy shooting modes we know from the Galaxy S4. The handset itself, with its flat sides, is comfortable to hold while shooting. LG has also equipped its G2 smartphone with an outstanding 13-megapixel camera. Unlike the Note 3, however, this handset takes advantage of optical image stabilization, which does a great job at keeping the frame steady while shooting. The camera interface on the G2 is quite intuitive, and to be honest, we find it a bit better organized, but it isn't as rich in terms of features. You do get a wide selection of shooting modes and effects you can apply to the image, but the Note 3's arsenal is simply richer. That is especially true when it comes to recording video. For example, the LG G2 can shoot 1080p footage at 60 frames per second. That's great as the resulting video looks amazing. But the Note 3 can do that as well. On top of that, the Note 3 can shoot 4K videos at 30 frames per second and slow motion videos at 120 frames per second, while the LG G2 cannot. As for the quality of the daytime images they produce, photos from the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 and the LG G2 are more or less equally good. The G2 performs slightly better if given optimal light conditions, while the Note 3 is more suitable for shooting in dim light. Photos from both smartphones are very clear and sharp even when inspected from up close. Fine details such as blades of grass and the leaves on trees are preserved very accurately, while the amount of digital noise is kept well under control. Color accuracy varies from one shot to another. Sometimes the LG G2 provides us with better results, while in some scenes, the Note 3 manages to represent them closer to what they look in real life. Videos recorded with these two smartphones look great overall. They're smooth and with enough detail, but in low-light situations, the Note 3 is by far the better shooter. We don't see any significant differences between the gallery apps loaded onto these two smartphones, save for the fact that the LG G2 can display photo thumbnails in more sizes. Both apps can present you with a slideshow of the photos you have stored and will let you share multiple images at the same time, which is very convenient. Visually, the music player application on the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 isn't the best we've ever seen, but then again, neither is the one on the G2. However, looking at their sets of features makes us quickly forget about their lack of visual appeal. There's a ton of audio enhancements to pick from on the Galaxy Note 3, including the company's unique Adapt Sound features, which is capable of adjusting the music reproduction in a way that matches the user's hearing and earphones. The LG G2 may not offer as many options for sound tweaking, but it will let you stream music you have stored in Dropbox and can search YouTube for the music video of the song currently playing. Both smartphones have support for high-quality 24-bit 192 kHz digital audio. That is something that won't affect the average user, but it will be appreciated by audio enthusiasts. With its single built-in loudspeaker, the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 can produce loud audio of average quality. Music played back through the single loudspeaker on the G2 is of identical quality, but its volume is average at best. A cool bonus that you won't find on most other smartphones is the infrared blaster built into the LG G2 and the Samsung Galaxy Note 3. It transforms a smartphone into a universal remote, which is capable of controlling a multitude of appliances such as TVs and set-top boxes. Samsung has taken things a step further and has integrated a program guide which lists all shows that are playing on TV. If you pick a show, then the app will intelligently switch to the channel it is on. To no surprise, watching videos on any of these two smartphones is a pleasure thanks to their huge high-resolution displays. Just open up YouTube or throw all your Full HD videos on there and enjoy. To make its video player stand out, LG has thrown in a few neat features. One can easily control the brightness and the sound volume, as well as to rewind or fast forward with a quick swipe in a dedicated area of the screen. Zooming in videos is also an option you won't see on the video players of other smartphones. The video player on the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 doesn't offer quite as many extras, but it definitely gets the job done. It is possible to have a video played back in a window, but then again, the G2 can do that as well. Phone calls made from the LG G2 sound quite pleasing. Its earpiece performs well and produces natural, crackle-free voice tones as long as its volume isn't set to the maximum level. Overall, we'd rank it as above average. Sadly, we cannot say the same about its microphone, which happens to deliver loud but somewhat artificial-sounding voices on the other side of the line. The Galaxy Note 3 has a powerful but average-sounding earpiece. Its microphone, however, does a much better job at capturing natural voice tones than the G2, with noise reduced when that is appropriate. One of the largest batteries ever packed inside a smartphone is on the Galaxy Note 3. It has a capacity of 3200 mAh, which is quite a lot, definitely enough to last you through a day of heavy usage, and even two if the smartphone is used with moderation. Behind the backplate of the LG G2 hides a 3000 mAh battery, which might be smaller but should deliver comparable results. As a matter of fact, LG's flagship is one of the top devices on our battery benchmark test, achieving 6 hours and 48 minutes of intensive use on a single charge. The Note 3 got us only 6 hours and 8 minutes under identical conditions. In conclusion, both the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 and the LG G2 are clearly pretty awesome. They do have their advantages and disadvantages, however. For example, the size of the Note 3, or the size of its screen in particular, is one of its main selling points. This gorgeous display makes the Note 3 an ideal smartphone for entertainment, gaming, and media consumption. Also, the S Pen and the boatload of productivity features that are thrown onto this device are not to be forgotten. But size is also the weakness of the Note 3, since some buyers will surely find it too bulky and uncomfortable to carry around. The LG G2, on the other hand, is more compact and much easier to handle. At the same time, its 5.2-inch display is just as good looking and suitable for any task you can imagine. Therefore, if you find the Note 3 too big for your liking, then you should definitely give the G2 a try. Thank you for watching our video comparison between the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 and the LG G2. To learn more about these great smartphones, just visit our website phonearena.com.